Hello, everybody. Today, I'm very privileged and blessed to have my friend Karen Humphries from another part of the world. And today, we will know from Karen what is her strength in terms of she lives on seven strong wisdoms and she's the author of Chronic Wisdom. Karen, welcome and thank you so much for accepting my invitation to share your story on this platform. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure. As you know, my name's Karen Humphries. I'm a 52-year-old. I'm from Sydney, Australia, and I'm currently living with stage 4 incurable cholangiocarcinoma, which is otherwise known as bile duct cancer.
So, Karen, not everybody can come up and talk about the journey, though we both are smiling, but then it's a journey of life. I think that's all we can do. And I really salute your courage and the kind of work in terms of advocacy also you are being doing to help other warriors or other people who are still fighting this big C disease. So, in this entire conversation, definitely I would, and we all like to know your journey because it's all about understanding how, on a day to day basis, you are fighting uh, and fighting not for anything else, but fighting for life. Secondly, your experiences, which keeps you moving ahead, whether it be your food, your emotional balance, or whatever you do. I think those points might help somebody somewhere when they listen to this conversation. So,
Mm-hmm.
Karen, what was that first feeling when your doctor said you have cancer?
I wasn't shocked. I knew something inside me that there was something wrong because I'd been in and out of the hospital for 4 or 5 years, like a revolving door, saying there's something wrong with me. I'm pretty tuned into my body because I live with another incurable genetic condition for most of my life. So I I knew what the words were going to come from her. I just had my gallbladder out. Um, I just remember going home that day, ringing my family and just saying, "This isn't my first rodeo." But I didn't know what type of cancer really it was, and how aggressive it was. So that didn't really hit me. But my first instinct was, again, that it wasn't my first rodeo and I'll be okay. But then I've
So,
been diagnosed twice. So, it's a two-sided question, really, and answer,
yeah.
because how I reacted the second time was probably a little bit different to the first time as well.
So, so you are emotionally very resilient person. That's what I would like put. I mean, I can only put in that small way. Um, so, since you had a genetic disorder from before, and you have been in a process of, building up yourself every day with
Mm.
uncertainty. So, how was your childhood like when you first came to know perhaps about your genetic disorder? Forget about cancer, but your genetic disorder. What was those? Can you give us some moments
Mhm.
of I'm sure there's a lot of challenging moments you had. So a little bit,
Definitely.
yeah,
Mm. It was
in that.
actually unconscious. I didn't know I had the genetic condition until I was 34. So that went undiagnosed as well as the cancer for many years.
Mm.
So it was very confusing. And I feel like when it got really severe, when I was 23, 24, and I weighed about 43 kilos, which is about 6 stone, I couldn't absorb food because the oncologist now thinks that my digestive system has failed to thrive since birth.
Mm.
So, I had a lot of issues growing up with proprioception, falling over, not being able to walk I didn't walk until I was 18 months. I didn't crawl at all. And my mum had taken me to a doctor saying, and they said I was a lazy child, which I wasn't. It was just that my body couldn't hold itself up together because the connective tissue in the body couldn't hold the joints and organs together, basically, properly. So, yeah, but around about 23, 24, I'd have to say that I probably fell apart emotionally and physically. And probably a lot of people fall apart when they get a cancer diagnosis. But I had that earlier on in life, and I've had to learn how to manage. And I've done a lot of studies and, personal and also at university, I think, to help me, come to terms with this genetic condition, let alone the cancer. So by the time I got to the cancer, I feel I was probably more resilient. And even my oncologist has actually said that you've probably done a bit better because you already have that expertise. It's like, I suppose, studying, I've studied myself more than the average person because I, it's just made me strong, I think. And I moved around a lot, which I talk about in my book, a lot. I think over 36 homes in my life, and a lot of those were childhood. So that made me resilient as well. Like, I always had to learn how to adapt. So I probably had the right childhood in some respects, although traumatic in moving around, but it gave me the education inside myself to be resilient and navigate issues, when they come up, medical or otherwise.
Right. Absolutely.
Mm.
So, Karen, first of all, I thank you for presenting me your book. And the title of the book itself is amazing, uh, Chronic Wisdom. So, let's talk more about your book. So, can you tell us a little bit what is your book about, and probably then a question with it would come definitely like, if cancer as such or your entire journey as such has taught one lesson, if I have to put that as one lesson, what would be that you would like to share? So but let's understand more about you from about your book, Chronic Wisdom.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the subtitle is called One Woman's Story of Survival, Strength, and Self-Discovery, because I've really had to go in and find strength. And from that, journey of surviving and turning it into thriving, I rediscovered who I was, basically. But being in, and I also have like 7 key wisdoms, which I live with, and my life is embodied, and I live in the presence of those 7 key wisdoms. Like, for example, be in the flow, turning up for myself, unpacking and repacking my life suitcase, which I did in studying counselling and throughout my life as well. I've always had to look at, like, why am I feeling this way? Accept help, go speak to a counsellor, because you can't do this journey on your own. It's quite challenging. But I suppose one lesson that you discussed, if I wanted to relate that back to somebody, it would be really look after your well-being. I don't think I really understood that until the second diagnosis of cancer, and I heard the words terminal and incurable. Even though I'd been living, with a lot, it changed my perception of time. Even if I had 5 months left or 5 years left, I decided that I was going to change how I lived. So I become more mindful, especially in how I spoke to myself. And my diet is very limited anyway to 50 foods, but I am very conscious what I put in my mouth. That's really helped me as well. And also being an empowered patient and advocating for myself, and ensuring, that's a whole in your whole well-being, really, looking and researching about your own self and studying yourself, I think helps you to be more empowered in as a patient and any other area of your life. And that's definitely one thing I would say that I'd recommend people to do before or after, a cancer diagnosis, even, or any kind of chronic health condition.
Thank you for that message, because I think when we do not have the disease, or as such, if quote unquote, when we are healthy, we really don't value it. We really don't. And I think this is life's learning, and that you have put through your book, as I, if I may perceive that way. I haven't read the whole book. I have started reading it. Definitely, once I complete, I will, with your permission, I would
Yes.
bring up a review, or not review, but I would write my perspectives, my learning from that book. But if
Mhm.
you have a hard copy right here with you, can
Yes.
we see it a bit?
Yes.
Wow,
It's
that's beautiful. Yeah,
Yes,
I think,
just a
yeah.
beautiful butterfly,
Yeah,
because it's a metamorphosis. I went through a journey,
yeah.
and it's just talking about that process of what happens from the caterpillar.
Okay, yeah.
Mm.
So, is this book available for other people to buy?
Yes, you can, obtain it from my website, www.karenhumphries.com.au, but it's also available through Amazon and other online and physical bookstores as well.
Okay, that's amazing then. Yeah. So, uh, and I think I will definitely get into reading the entire book, because anyway, I'm avid reader, and I also need all the wisdom that you have shared. So I think I'm very lucky to have it from the author herself. So, um, so Karen, can we know about more about the type of cancer you have? As far as my understanding goes, and you shared with me, it's about cholangiocarcinoma.
Carcinoma. Mm,
I think
mm.
this is not a very well known or common cancer. So I would really like to have your perspectives, your views, and because you are going through it, you are living with that. So can you please enlighten us on cholangiocarcinoma?
So cholangiocarcinoma either starts in, or generally starts in the bile duct. Mine started in the gallbladder, so it can start in the liver or other parts of the bile duct. It's like a biliary tree, they call it. That's why they also call it biliary cancer. Uh, it is a very rare and a very aggressive cancer. According to cholangio expert Professor John Bridgewater, he states that it's one of the deadliest cancers out there. It's rare, as I said, so it's actually really unknown. It usually presents at stage 4, incurable, inoperable, because the symptoms don't really show up. But for me, I had symptoms for a year, like clay stools, itchiness, vomiting. I just wasn't feeling well in myself. So, but a lot of people say that they don't have any symptoms until they present to hospital, and maybe have liver or high elevated liver issues with non-alcoholic fatty liver, which I had as well. But it's actually part of those issues, or they might have their gallbladder or something like that removed, and then they might find it. But it's yeah, most people live about 6 to 12 months, so the life expectancy is not long, and it's still basically, according to Pancare Foundation, it's still stuck into the 1970s. There is some new trials, and even according to cholangio expert Professor John Bridgewater, he states that it's so important to get your genomic profiling done ASAP. And even my oncologist, Nick Pavlakis, he got that sorted out for me straight away. And Professor John Bridgewater stated in a recent podcast that I listened to that this can actually, doing that, extend someone's life several years with cholangiocarcinoma, because they can, start treating it with potential, trials. There's a few more trials out there than there was. Thankfully, I'm on a trial with immunotherapy, but the first time I was diagnosed, I was eligible to have some surgery. Most people aren't. Uh, and then I had 6 months of chemotherapy, and then I apparently went into a remission. But this cancer usually comes back 80% of the time. So I think the cancer cells sit there and then they just go bang. That's what was told to me initially. So really, you might think you're in remission, but you're actually not. It's just you're a sitting duck, really. And most people have had to have maybe another liver resection, or they go on different lines of treatment, like there's standard 1 and then standard 2, which you might know about, and that might not work, which a lot of times it doesn't, and then they might try a trial. But unfortunately, a lot of people, it doesn't work. But this new immunotherapy that was included has helped me live. I've been on that for 31 months. So I'll be on that for the rest of my life. It's not to say that I won't go back on chemotherapy. I've had that for 18 months. And I'm bile duct stented as well. So I will require, a lot of management, a lot of treatment for the rest of my life. I'm clearly not out of the woods. I've had 9 tumours though, and I am down to 3. So I am a miracle when it comes to that. But not a lot of people see that. And I've done a lot of advocacy and volunteering work in this space, and I've mentored a lot of patients. And unfortunately, they have passed away, which is very hard. When you're the survivor, you have survivor's guilt. But I'd like to see a lot more done for it, because it's just really not known. And I've the last 5 years, I have really worked very hard in the advocacy space in Australia and worldwide as well, to bring a lot of awareness, which has been in newspapers and radio, things like that as well. So very proud of those achievements.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, as you said that the survival rate is quite low in this kind of cancer.
Mm.
So I think that you are fighting it all along. I'm sure you will go along more, and your purpose is already here, and you're already doing advocacy. So
That's
I think we are all blessed, and I'm very blessed to have you today on this conversation. Thank you, Karen, once again. So, Karen, you were just mentioning a few minutes ago that you worked really hard to start living your life. So, because uh, I think it is a story for us, all of us who are hearing, who are not in the path that you are traveling. But if you can help other people by sharing your journey where you really made that shift inside yourself, or things that helped you to just not just leaving, or being emotionally drained and sitting just like that with the understanding of the disease, rather than that shift that you started again living your life as a human being. So I think your tips, things that worked for you, would be really helpful information for other people who are surviving, or probably who are going through the disease.
I think I would like to let people know that I'm human and I have emotions. And a lot of people say that I'm extremely and really strong. But again, I feel that muscles has been flexed probably more than the average person. And that's why I have maybe that strength that they see. But it's something that we can learn. And you might know of neuroplasticity yourself. So I've used neuroplasticity. I did study that in my counselling qualification that I was doing just before my diagnosis. And I had started, before cancer, using that with my physical body, because I've been in a wheelchair and have a walking stick and a lot of proprioception issues. So I work a lot with my physical therapist So one is I've changed how I look at physical exercise. I see that as actually medicine. I work with an amazing dietitian, and I see food as a medicine. And the way that I speak to myself, I see that as medicine as well. How we speak, there's a lot of research behind all those three things as well, that backs up that can change the pattern in our brains. I'd wake up to myself every morning, especially after the second diagnosis, and just say I'm cancer free. I'd visualize a future for myself. And I also just change, as I said, my mindset. And I said, everybody's terminal. The day we're born, we're terminal. That changed everything for me. My oncologist recently said, I wish everyone had that mindset, Karen. It just stopped the fear of, and I stopped saying I'm fighting anything. And I
Ah,
befriend. So I don't fight, I flow. I live in the flow. Whatever's meant to be will be. And I've just got up every day and had goals. I was a former columnist for cancer wellbeing, and I remember writing an article about goals because, again, research states that goals help us to have a purpose and also having a spiritual belief. There's another research that's a lot of research backing that as well. Having some type of spiritual belief, doesn't matter what religion or belief, that also helps somebody live longer as well. So I already knew all those things before I studied or was diagnosed with cancer. So I've actually applied that qualification on myself going through cancer. So I run wellbeing programs in my own work now, and I also do in my altruistic work at the Royal North Shore Hospital in Sydney. I run cancer survivorship programs, and we bring in experts, and we also uh, use creative therapy, which I used on myself, which I talk about in my book. I feel like even before cancer, I was trapped in trauma. So
mm-hmm.
people might feel that they're trapped in trauma from cancer, that they can't, they're living in a goldfish, fish bowl going around and around and feeling like they have no control, but they actually have a lot of control. Again, what you eat, what exercise you can do. There's a lot of free things you can do online now.
Yeah.
I used a lot of music and different hertz and things like that. And there's a lot of research again. So everything is scientifically, backed up. I know from my own university that we have to have, things that are backed up by science as well. So all the things that I've used, do have a great backing, and they've just benefited me to no end. And again, my oncologist says it's your holistic approach to what you're doing and that other experience of living with the other condition that's actually changed. So I feel that they should, the person that's just being diagnosed, and also the caregiver, because that takes a lot from the caregiver as well. And they feel like they always have to be there, but the caregiver really should be looking after themselves too, because you cannot give if you don't have your cup full. And that has changed. Even though I want to help the world, I realize that I can't help anybody unless I fill my own well-being cup up. I see it like a bank, and I have to put dollars into each of those categories. And if I don't, then don't expect anything to come back. So eating good, nutritious food like stock, homemade chicken stock, or vegetable stock, depending on, what you can eat. It's all nutritious food that's really going back to yesteryear, because what we eat now in society, that's not helping. I don't think there's like this cholangiocarcinoma, there's more a rise in that, and they think that it's actually due to foods like bowel cancers and stuff like that. There must be something going on that we're doing not right in how we are compared to yesteryear. But I would say all those things I've listed is what I would recommend for people to get up and do. And meditation, I do too, and at 2 hours of meditation a week in classes as well. So
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you so much for sharing all those things. I think this information is very, very valuable, extremely valuable, because it's valuable not only for somebody who is running a similar path, but it is also for people who are still, I mean, fortunately, they haven't seen this disease with them, but it's time, it's an alarm that we should set.
With
We
one in
should
two of
value.
us, yeah,
Yeah,
1 in 2 of us are predicted to either get a chronic illness or
yeah,
have cancer before the time we're 80 or be a
yeah,
caregiver. So there's no time like now to start preparing. That's what I say, and that's why I'm trying to do the work I'm doing.
absolutely, absolutely. So, Karen, when it comes to society, so I think that is something which I would like to ask you as a concluding question, because I closely work with a few groups here. I volunteer in emotional support groups for cancer caregivers, cancer survivors, and cancer patients. But what I see is that my experience with couple of interactions that still, um, like as you said before, even certain words that we use, uh, what is that one thing you feel the society needs to learn, um, when it comes to the entire story of surviving cancer or cancer survivors? Because I have seen it's more about isolation, just shutting down when somebody has got the cancer. At least in India, I have seen that. I have heard stories from people, they don't like to speak about it to anybody. uh, I have also heard stories that uh, immediate family members or extended family members just come and just say that things like so foolish that, oh, you look all good, you look so beautiful, did you really have cancer? I mean, that was horrible experiences that I have heard. But then what do you think, as a person yourself, as a fighter yourself, that um, uh, what the society needs to understand about the entire uh, thing with cancer survivors, or the space all around? What should we change in our mentality, in our mindset?
I think, it's not Hollywood. It's not with your losing all your hair. It's not that somebody can looks good because I get that same thing. Oh my God, you look so good. But, my hair, I have tricks to play with my hair. My hair's been able to grow back a lot since, I stopped the chemo.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, we just think that the journey ends once the person's in remission, but the journey never ends. And the support group that I run and the hospital, Royal North Shore
Hmm.
Hospital, and we have the philosophy there that the person always needs help, throughout their entirety, even if in the remission in 20 years, because the psychological aspects and the physical aspects never end. So a cancer survivor is always a survivor, and they're a survivor from the day they're diagnosed, which people don't usually understand what a survivor is. So until the day they die, and they might actually be cancer free for 50 years, but they should have that respect. And sometimes I see it is like of somebody going, especially with a rare cancer, going to war and coming back. And most of my people, fellow people, they're all gone. They're all dead. So it's like coming back and your platoon is gone and you're the only one. So it's a very hard thing, but I think society's changing a little bit. There's a bit more research at universities on cancer survivorship and knowing that they need to change it, because even with people like myself with stage 4 incurable cancer, we're living longer. They don't
Hmm.
know what to do with us. So it's for people like me to, give that lived experience, again, paving a new way for people. And it's really probably drop any notion of that it's a Hollywood and it's a one size fits all t-shirt. Even with breast cancer, there are multiple breast cancers. Before I had cancer, I didn't even know about that. I didn't know about genomic profiling. I
Right.
didn't know anything. I've got this massive open door education about cancer now, but I'm still in the dark. I have a lot to learn. It's a never ending journey for somebody walking along this road. And a lot of people are isolated, and it doesn't help when somebody, especially your family, aren't there. I've had family that didn't talk to me. I've not had any family support. I haven't had anyone, my family sitting by beside my bedside, especially the second time. It's been people that you least expected, because there's cancer ghosting is real. It is very real. People for 30 years just no longer talk to you. They don't know what to say, or they've had someone else lost and they don't want to deal with you dying. So it's something that I think maybe we need to learn resilience and things in schools. How to treat others. We're not really taught how to treat people with an illness, and it can be very isolating and lonely for the person and the caregiver as well.
Absolutely. I think that's a very strong message, because I think I completely align with what you say. We are not trained how to talk to people, how to treat people. We think we are good. And as time as we grow, we become professionals. We think we are good at everything, and I think small words, like I will tell a small experience, and in this conversation here, um, with a I mean, to have what things within the frame of time. So I personally, without any intention of hurting anybody, I used to say, um, cancer survivor, cancer survivor. So uh, I met somebody who is a survivor himself, and he is also, he has also written a book. I have covered his story a little bit in short in writing. So when this is a real experience, and I'm sure when he's listening this, he will understand, not taking his name though. So when I wrote that story, I just gave it to him to just for a review, that thing, is it all right, can I publish this on my social media? So he appreciated the way I wrote, but he just told me one thing that shifted my mind forever. He just told me, Gargi, can you change the word um, survivor to warrior?
Yes, talks about that, whether we should change that word as well.
I was like, yes. I mean, that's a very simple thing. Like, nobody is doing intentionally. I was not doing intentionally. It was just that I was talking about it. And another experience, I met who is also a lifetime volunteer, you know, with emotional as emotional support for cancer warriors, even people who are going through it. So she told me one thing. We usually say patient. So what happens in a hospital setup? A human, you are turning a human to a number, bed number so and so. But have you ever thought how it feels to that person? So I was really, really moved by these two small. I mean, these were very little things. It just came up in normal conversation, but I think I had a lot of shift inside me, uh, and I'm very careful when I speak uh, in these terminologies now. So I think advocacy that you are doing, conversations that we are doing, and I think training people in the right way how to communicate is something which I feel
Mm.
is much needed.
I'll be doing a bit more training with bedside manners at the hospital
Yes,
as well. And I think we have to, from a counselling perspective, when we did cross cultural counselling, each culture has their own perception of
yes,
illness. And there's a lot of shame in some cultures about seeing a counsellor or cancer. Um, So it is, really depends on the culture as well, which is a
Yes.
shame. But it really is opening that new conversation. And you're doing amazing work by,
Thank
with
you.
what you're doing. And I thank you on behalf of people like myself, because you're opening
Thank
that new door.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much. And it was wonderful speaking to you.
You
And
too.
I'm just waiting to go through every page of your book, and I'll get back to you on
Mm.
this on the book again. And I need your blessings. Please bless me so that I can bring out
Oh,
more stories like this.
I
Thank you.
yes, I've yeah, definitely blessed this beautiful podcast, and I believe it. You will keep on thriving in it. And yeah, it's people like you that are changing, and my oncologists that are help people like me to stay alive and give me a purpose as well. So I really appreciate you helping me, and we will share this podcast out to the many for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.